Something insane is happening in Sweden. Koenigsegg just unveiled a new engine so powerful and advanced, it might make the entire electric car industry look outdated. We're talking about a hybrid monster with a V8 and a single electric motor that together outperform what Tesla, Rimac, and Lucid need 4 motors to achieve. With patents, secret projects, and strange test rigs, Christian von Koenigsegg says this is just the beginning. So, what are they really building? The Koenigsegg philosophy is simple. They never follow the rules. In a world where every car company is sprinting toward electric motors and heavy batteries, this tiny Swedish company is doing the exact opposite, and they're winning. While giants like Tesla, Porsche, and Ferrari pour billions into electrification, Koenigsegg quietly builds machines that make them all look slow. Why is Koenigsegg refusing to follow the electric car revolution? How did a company with no legacy, no giant factories, and no global dealership network end up building a car that might wipe the floor with every electric vehicle in 2025? And who exactly is the man behind it all? It all starts with Christian von Koenigsegg, a young Swedish entrepreneur who, in the mid-1990s, dared to believe he could take on the biggest names in the car industry. At just 22 years old, Christian didn't have a massive engineering team or decades of manufacturing experience. What he had was an idea, a stubborn streak, and a sketchpad. He dreamed of building the fastest, most advanced car in the world from scratch. Unlike most people with wild ideas, he didn't stop at the dream. He rented a small shed, hired a few people, and started experimenting. The first prototype wasn't glamorous, it was rough, handmade, and pieced together by trial and error. But even then, something was clear. This wasn't going to be just another car company chasing headlines. From the very beginning, Christian rejected the usual way things were done. Where other manufacturers outsourced parts, Koenigsegg made them in-house. When big brands relied on suppliers for their carbon fiber panels, Koenigsegg invented its own carbon fiber weaving process. And when most companies ordered titanium exhausts from specialized vendors, Koenigsegg built a 3D printer capable of printing titanium, just so they could make their own exhaust tips. Not because it was easy or cheap, but because it gave them control. Total control over every gram, every angle, every decision. It wasn't just materials. Christian constantly questioned the rules everyone else took for granted. Why use a traditional gearbox if you could eliminate it entirely? That question led to the creation of the Regera's direct drive system, a revolutionary powertrain that removed the need for gear changes altogether, allowing seamless, instant acceleration. Why limit speed with traction control systems when you could build a car so aerodynamically perfect it didn't need them? That philosophy led to the Agera RS smashing world records in 2017, hitting 277.9 miles per hour on a public road with no safety net from electronic aids. Every innovation that came out of Koenigsegg started with a what if, and ended with the world wondering how they pulled it off. They didn't have the size of Mercedes, the racing pedigree of Ferrari, or the marketing machine of Lamborghini. They had something rarer, an unwillingness to compromise. When Christian and his team couldn't find the technology they needed, they built it themselves. Every time someone told them, "That's impossible," they made it possible. But this wasn't reckless experimentation. Every radical decision had a purpose: to create the purest, fastest, most technically advanced car they could imagine. That's why their cars aren't weighed down by unnecessary features or bloated electronics. Every piece exists to serve performance. Anything that doesn't, it's cut. No fluff, no gimmicks isn't just a slogan. It's how they build. And that approach didn't just lead to fast cars. It led to cars that scared the giants, cars that left Bugatti, Ferrari, and McLaren scrambling to catch up. While every other automaker was busy chasing more batteries, heavier motors, and complicated software, Koenigsegg unveiled a motor so unexpected and insane, it's left engineers around the world asking, how is this even possible? It's called dark matter, and it changes everything. This isn't just another electric motor, it's a 6-phase Raxial flux power unit that weighs less than most suitcases, but produces more power than some full-size trucks. In simple terms, Koenigsegg just replaced 3 motors with one, and it's somehow lighter, smarter, and way more terrifying. How is that even possible? And what happens when they put that motor into a 4-seater that's faster than a Bugatti? Let's start with the raw numbers. Koenigsegg's dark matter motor weighs just 39 kilograms or 86 pounds, and produces 800 horsepower and 1,250 newton-meters of torque. Most electric cars today use multiple motors, each weighing upwards of 100 kilograms, to reach similar numbers. But Koenigsegg has done it with one motor barely bigger than a carry-on bag. That's not just engineering, it's borderline science fiction. The secret lies in the six-phase axial flux architecture. To understand why this matters, let's first talk about how most electric motors work. Standard EV motors are three-phase, meaning electricity flows through three alternating channels to generate rotation. This is efficient and stable but has limitations: more heat, lower torque density, and scaling problems when you try to extract extreme performance. Koenigsegg threw that logic out. Their dark matter unit uses six-phase current, distributing electrical load across double the pathways. That results in smoother torque delivery, reduced heat buildup, and faster response time. Then comes the big twist axial flux. This design fuses two different approaches: radial flux, where the magnetic field flows perpendicular to the motor's axis, and axial flux, where the field flows along it. Each has strengths. Radial is good for high torque density, axial is great for compact design and cooling. Koenigsegg merged them both into one motor. The result is a single ultra-compact motor that delivers brutal instantaneous power with almost no heat soak, no lag, and no drop-off in performance, even under stress. Here's the kicker. This one motor replaces the three motors used in the original Gemera prototype. It's lighter, more efficient, mechanically simpler, with fewer moving parts, less failure risk, better weight distribution, and no sacrifice in control. That's not just a step forward. That's a complete leap over everything that came before. But Koenigsegg didn't stop with the motor. They built a platform around it that makes no sense until you see what it does. The Gemera, their so-called Mega GT, was already an anomaly when first announced. A four-seater plug-in hybrid hypercar with a mid-mounted engine and the soul of a race machine. The original spec featured a 2-liter, 3-cylinder, tiny-friendly giant engine paired with 3 electric motors, one on each rear wheel and one on the crankshaft. It made headlines and raised eyebrows. Then Koenigsegg did the unthinkable. They scrapped it and made it even crazier. The new production Gemera now comes with the Hot V8, a 5-liter twin-turbocharged engine pulled directly from the Koenigsegg Jesko, one of the most extreme hypercars ever made. That engine alone produces 1,500 horsepower parrot, with the new dark matter motor's 800 horsepower, and the combined output reaches a brain-melting 2,300 horsepower. That's not a typo, and this isn't a stripped-down track car. This is a luxury grand tourer with 4 seats, a full infotainment system, climate control, and actual cup holders. The Gemera now does 0 to 100 km per hour in 1.9 seconds and has a top speed exceeding 400 km per hour. For comparison, that's faster than a Bugatti Chiron, faster than a Rimac Nevera, faster than almost any street-legal car on the planet. And it does it with a full interior, rear-wheel steering, all-wheel torque vectoring, and enough luggage space to make a weekend road trip reasonable. It is, quite literally, a family car that drifts like a supercar and outruns jets. You might ask, how is it even possible to control that much power with just one electric motor? That's where Koenigsegg's engineering brilliance really shines. The dark matter motor, unlike traditional EV setups, doesn't need multiple motors to handle advanced functions like torque vectoring or launch control. It works in tandem with Koenigsegg's custom-built torque converter and inverter, delivering precise power distribution in real time. This setup gives the car surgical responsiveness without the weight and complexity of tri- or quad-motor layouts. And then there's the design. The Gemera doesn't just perform like a rocket, it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. The massive side-opening clamshell doors eliminate the need for a B-pillar, giving the car a clean, uninterrupted profile. The cabin feels more like a Scandinavian lounge than a race cockpit. 4 individual bucket seats, full digital displays for every passenger, and yes, an actual cup holder that fits a latte. Christian calls it a hyper-crossover, blending hypercar speed with crossover practicality. Behind the scenes, Koenigsegg's vertical integration plays a huge role. Unlike other car companies that rely on suppliers, Koenigsegg controls almost every part of the process. From carbon fiber chassis to titanium exhaust tips, they make their own parts, often with their own cutting-edge machines. This allows them to iterate rapidly, improve quality, and keep secrets under wraps. Their 3D printing capabilities in particular enable them to create parts impossible to mass-produce by other means. It also means they aren't beholden to industry trends or supplier limitations. They innovate without compromise because they control the entire supply chain. For example, the new dark matter motor's unique design and manufacturing methods might be impossible for other companies to replicate easily, because they would have to coordinate multiple suppliers. Koenigsegg just does it internally. Looking ahead, Koenigsegg's ambitions stretch beyond just hypercars. The dark matter motor's design has applications in aerospace, marine propulsion, and even industrial machinery. Their patents and know-how could revolutionize how electric motors are built across industries, not just cars. That's why the company talks about licensing their technology. While making insanely fast cars, they are also pioneering a broader engineering revolution. In a time when many automakers are focused on incremental improvements and flashy marketing, Koenigsegg stands apart by delivering radical innovation, pure performance, and engineering mastery. The Gemera and its dark matter motor are proof that small companies with vision, grit, and technical genius can still change the world. The question isn't whether Koenigsegg can keep this pace, it's who will be able to catch up.